Welcome to Destined for Success. I'm your host, Jennifer Takagi, and today is Potapalooza Day. I love this day, and I love all the people I get to meet that I wouldn't necessarily run across with, and you get the benefit of the messages. Our next guest is Katja Lany, and she hails to us via Germany from Colorado. Katja, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you show up in the world.
Well, first of all, Jennifer, I'm so happy to be here with you and the listeners today. So thank you for your warm welcome and destined for success. Yeah, that's definitely a title that sparked my interest. And from my perspective, I would say success is not happening here because I have found on my own healing journey that it's the figuring out mode, the mental figuring out mode that kept me so stuck. And I am so grateful for the mentors I've worked with for facilitating to me that shift from the mind into the body, into my heart and womb, because that's really where the magic lies. And now that I am talking to people that work with me, I am speaking of the shift from mental figuring out mode to tracking mode. And it really is all about staying with that, tracking what's going on in my body and really being very curious whatever comes up as I'm tuning within. And um, right there, it's really crucial to have somebody who holds you accountable to not give up too soon, because as I have noticed myself, when I did it for the first time, there wasn't really anything coming up. There was just a big numbness. But then when I had that stick with itness, what eventually happened for me was that I had this felt sense of the first emotion. And when I stick with it longer, I could tune into that emotion whenever I wanted it. And then that one emotion was joined by many emotions, by all emotions. And then after even more time, I eventually got to that place where I could not only have that felt sense of my own emotions, but also I could feel other people's emotions in my body even before they could feel it in theirs.
So I love this a lot because I often talk about how you have to be still, and like hearing God, you have to be still to hear your inner voice. You have to be still. So I'm loving this whole train of thought. But when you say, I can't remember how you put it now. I sat with it and then I had this emotion. What did that mean? Like, are you just being still? Are you meditating? Are you working with somebody and they're guiding you? Like, what does that mean?
What I mean with that is just having that intention to notice whatever is coming up when I'm attuning within. And that is in such big contrast to what I used to do, this mentally figuring out and shifting that to tracking in your body, in your viscera, what's there, and just sticking with it and keep asking that question: what does my body want to communicate to me?
And so when you do this and you're asking those really great questions, are you sitting still? Is this something you do just walking down the street? Is it just like second nature for you now? That's what I'm uh hoping to embrace and figure it out for myself.
Yeah. Um, I would call that meditation. And
Okay.
for me, that means, yeah, sitting still and having that intention to find out what the body wants to have me know.
I love that. And again, we often don't sit still. We often are in a constant state of movement, whether we're physically moving or mentally moving. We just are constantly go, go, go. And I've had some knee issues lately, and I was very disappointed because I'd been working out. My knees had been better than they had been, and then like the gig was up. It was like done. And somebody goes, "Well, how much have you been traveling?" And I was like, "Well, that shouldn't matter." And like in November alone, I went on 4 different trips. And
Yeah.
so like when you're gone that much and you're not taking care of your body, then it and not tuning in, it's gonna scream back in one way or the other. It is gonna stand up and yell.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing that I wanted to comment to. When people are in their headspace, it's just so noisy there. There is this
Yes.
mental chatter going on that is just so loud, and that's overriding that voice of intuition that I want people to gain access to. And um, I would describe it in a way that I was in this second guessing state that is so normal when I'm coming from that mind space, right? I try to make a decision. I try to figure out a next step, and um, I immediately second guess what my mind is coming up with, and that's so frustrating. And it just drives people crazy. It sure did drive me crazy. But when I can drop from there into my body and listen to that intuitive knowing that is always there, but sometimes not really accessible due to the mental noise, then I am really guided to what is the best next step for me, what is the best decision, and this second guessing isn't even an issue.
I love that. There's a meditation I was guided to a number of years ago, and one of the things he says is just throughout the day, ask yourself, what is the next best step I can take? And like that curiosity and asking. So when you I get caught up on time sometimes. And some people do meditations and they're for a very long period of time, like a long time. And then there are other people that do short meditations. And so, is there a shortcut, or does it have to take a long time, or is it just being so incredibly present in that moment that you feel it and know it? Is it just practice? I don't know if I'm asking the question right, but maybe you get what I'm asking.
Yeah, um, it's certainly true with meditation as it is with so many things that practice makes you better at what you're trying to get at. Yeah. So of course, when you just start out meditating that way, then it might take a little bit longer, but you can surely get to a place where just a few breaths are already enough to hear that intuitive wisdom that we are aiming for. And I often say, when somebody is in a state of freak out, it's totally possible to calm down with just a handful of breaths. And the difference is that in our everyday life, we are used to breathing unconsciously, but it's important to shift that unconscious breathing to breathing with intention, to breathe consciously. And that's where the magic lies.
It is, it's so important because we end up holding our breath. Years ago, I was trying to quit smoking, and in one of the books that I was reading on, guidance to quit, I've since quit. I quit in March of 2007, I think it was. But one of the things was when you smoke, you take a drag off a cigarette and then you like suck it in a little deeper and before you exhale. And so one of the problems is you quit smoking and you don't know how to take in a good deep breath and hold it for a second without the cigarette, like, because you think that's the only way to do it, but we can obviously do it without. Do you have some tips on breathing? Because breathing, I'm obviously the breath of life. If you don't breathe, you're dead, right? So there are options. You have
Mm.
choices. So do you have any suggestions on breathing and breathing mindfully? I guess it would
Yeah,
be a
it's
term.
it's so funny. You should think that breathing is something that is easy, right? But it happens so often that we unlearn the natural way to breathe. So my tip would be just watch a little baby. They are experts at
Ooh,
breathing the right way. And when you are together with a little one, you can see how they're so in their lower belly, and you can watch them have their belly rise on the inhale and then fall on the exhale again. And when people are very stressed, they're not breathing in their lower belly, they're breathing way up higher in their body, and it can look like this.
I love that. So people who are on the audio version of this, as she inhaled, her shoulders rose up to her ears. It was like up and down, up and down, up and down with the shoulders. And I resonate with this. I've been in physical therapy and it's for my knee, but I was there one day and I was like, "Hey, can you help me with this shoulder? It's just really tight." I don't know what I did, but all of a sudden I don't have the mobility in this shoulder. And she said, "Yes." And she's kind of moving my shoulder around and she found like a sore spot. And I was like, "Oh, I think you found it there." She goes, "You need to breathe, Jennifer. I can't stretch this out if you don't breathe." And I was like, "Maybe you should quit that and then I'll try to breathe." But it's really hard when something hurts, we naturally hold our breath and tense up, right? When what we should do is take a really deep breath and what do they say? Breathe through it.
Yeah, yeah. And those stressful experiences that we have been going through in our lifetime, they are held in the body. So um, the wrong thing to do is really what I used to think was the right thing, is to put more information into my mind. I was always thinking, oh, I just need to take that one more course. I just need to read that one more book. But it's not about adding more information to the head. It's about subtracting the stressors, the trauma out of the body. And that is a big insight, that it's not about adding more information, it's about pulling out the trauma from your nervous system, from your physicality.
And so is that what you do when you work with clients? Do you help release that and remove that? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I am working as a joie de vivre energy healer, and I have found that not all the people are familiar with that term. It's just a French way of saying joy of life. And that makes so much sense because when somebody is in this pattern of wanting to figure things out mentally and self-sabotaging, then that sucks the joy of life right out of you. And it really is important to um, shift that pattern, that default, to a place where I am more curious about what's going on inside of my body and being with whatever is coming to the surface there, and then feeling everything that's bubbling up fully and completely. And I have become such a big advocate of feeling all the feels, because that's really what they want. They want to be felt completely. And when somebody is describing this challenge with being stuck or trapped somehow, that is what that is all about. It's feelings that are trapped in the body, and they want to be felt fully and completely, and there's really no way around that. And if somebody says I'm just too scared to commit to that, then it's basically only a postponing. But as I said, there's no way around it. If you want to get unstuck, then this is what it is really about, to really have that felt sense of any and all emotions, whether that is fear or sadness or anger, really go into that felt sense of the emotion. And once they are felt completely, that's when they are really integrated, and you can have that breakthrough that you are so yearning for.
Oh my gosh, I love this. And the work I do, because I do energy healing work also. And through the work and the studies, they're showing that a trapped emotion such as fear or terror or abandonment is roughly the size of a fist.
Hmm.
And so if you've got multiple trapped emotions, which we most do because it's life, right? If you have all these trapped emotions the size of a fist throughout your system, then oxygen isn't going to flow well, blood isn't going to flow well, toxins aren't going to flow out well, and that's when you end up
Yeah,
literally
you
physically
can't
ill.
really talk those fists out of your body. You really need to feel the emotion, and it is certainly doable. I have done it, so anybody can do it.
Right. Right. But we don't, we don't even, we're not even aware, right? We're not aware. So that goes back to, as we're getting close to our time, that goes back to the idea of meditating or being quiet, however that looks for you, so that you can be quiet and start noticing what's going on in your body, and then breathing so that you can get the right oxygen and breathe like a baby, get those belly breaths. I had a coach, Cheryl, and she would always say, I want to see a belly breath. I want your belly to rise and then fall. So that's that baby breath there. And then that last part is really just feeling the feelings as they
Mhm.
come up. So if someone wants to work with you, what does that look like? And I think you have a free gift for our audience. So what you got for us, Katja?
I do have a free gift, and it's a PDF called Three Tips for Safety and Security, because I have noticed that without this sense of safety, you can't even begin doing shadow work like this. You need to have that sense of safety first. So that's why I'm offering that as a free gift to people um, to get those tips. And it is through the body, through the breathing, that this sense of safety is created best.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So, those of you who are on your phone listening to this podcast episode, it'll be in the show notes. And so you just have to scroll down a little bit and click in the show notes, grab the link, and get this PDF, Three Tips for Safety and Security. That is awesome. So, once they do that, is that the best way to get in contact with you? Or do you have a website or someplace else that you would like them to connect with you?
I usually connect with people via email, and that's very easy. It's my name, Katja.Lany at gmail.com, or I can also be very easily found on Facebook, so people can reach out to me there via Facebook Messenger.
All right, and that's Katja, Katja, Lany, Lany. Laney,
Mhm.
it's Laney at gmail.com or on Facebook. Katja, this has been so great. We were trying for the last couple hours to make sure we were going to be able to connect, and I'm so happy that we did. Thank you for your insights.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you all.
I'm Jennifer Takagi with Destined for Success. I look forward to connecting with you soon.